So a few days ago, I got sent this clip from Ken Swift, and I didn't think much of it. I didn't think it was it was enough to make a video, but now after hearing Fee essentially say, heavily imply that the referees were a major reason for why she did her rant, I'm like, I got to talk about this even more, because where was this last year? Where was all of this last year? The referees were equally as bad last year. But it was, the league's physical. And people were like, oh yeah, it was different last year. Why? Because they were beating the crap out of Caitlin Clark and not beating the crap out of everybody. Because even though they were beating the crap out of everyone, they were mostly beating the crap out of number 22 in Indiana, so it was all okay. Like, they were actually willing to make their league a worse product. They were willing to make their league a worse place for them to play, as long as it was okay to beat the crap out of a player in Indiana. But now that that player in Indiana is not playing and there's still that same level of physicality, they don't like it. Why? Because they're happy with the physicality as long as you're able to beat the crap out of 22. That seems to be the case. Am I wrong? I mean that. Like, these players were willing to take hits. They were willing to have a bad product. They were willing to literally take hits, as long as they literally as long as they were allowed to, go after CC.
Basketball has become acceptable in the W. Like, it was cool, like, last year at the beginning when people were like, it wasn't cool last year because we know what the narrative last year was about.
You're like, it was cool last year. The narrative, it wasn't a narrative. Like, it wasn't a narrative. Like, of all people, like, Lexi Brown was someone who believed the narrative that Caitlin wasn't that good. And then the first time she played, Caitlin was like, oh no, yeah, Caitlin's like that. Yeah, she's that good. Like, it wasn't a narrative. It was, we've seen it with everything. It wasn't a narrative. It was actually what was going on.
The physicality of the league, but I thought it also was a good thing to see, like, how physical the W really is and how it's just such a major leap from college to pros. But I think it's like gotten a little bit out of hand. And
it was no more it's no more physical this year than last year. It's just now we're seeing players not named Caitlin Clark get targeted.
I think that's what's led to the injuries. I think that's what's led to the crazy fatigue amongst players. On top of playing 44 games plus the playoffs, I think that they need to reel it in. And it's,
as much as people want to talk about 44 games, people don't forget there were 40 games, but it was in a shorter time frame last year because there was a month-long Olympic break. You had 4 less games, but you had a month shorter of a season. And yeah, I get it. You had the Olympic break, sure, but there were players literally that played. A lot of players played through the Olympic break and they got no break. Like, you're saying 44 games, like, prior to the playoffs, everyone on Team USA did not play 50 games. They played 50 games. And the All-Star game was an actual game. They played 50 games last year in a shorter period of time. So, as well as more traveling, flying to Paris to play some games. Like, it is what it is, I guess.
It's too late to do all of a sudden, the playoffs.
And I get it, the playoffs are longer. I get it. The schedule's too long. But, it was no different last year. It was actually no different last year. And this is where I have a problem with this whole narrative, is that, it was a problem last year. It's still a problem now. It's not like, Ken Swift said it here. Taking a little break out grades. Physicality last year was okay because Caitlin and everyone who's their fans complaining about it. This year it's gotten way out of hand. The way we were gaslit last year. And that's the thing where it's they're right now. They are right. Just everyone who was a basketball fan that came for Caitlin Clark is what the fuck is going on? Kennedy Carter hip checks her from behind off the ball, and it's called a common foul. It's called a common foul. That is ejection and suspension. And 1 game suspension. That is absolutely ejection, 1 game suspension. That's what it should be. Kick her out of the game, suspend her for 1 game. No. Common foul. They went to the monitor. And they still called it a common foul because they went to check to see if the ball had been inbounded or not. They called it a common off-the-ball foul and she shot one free throw. Not even a technical foul. Not even technical, a common foul. What's her name? Caitlin got flagrantly fouled 3 times in a row by Diamond DeShields. In a row, back to back to back. As in on 3 consecutive, on a defense, an offense, and a defense. Or was it 3 defense, 3 offense possessions? But 3 possessions in a row, she got flagrantly fouled 3 times by Caitlin, by Diamond DeShields. Flagrantly fouled 3 times. The referees called 1 flagrant and 2 commons. It was literally a flagrant foul. One of them was a flagrant foul. That's like, oh, maybe you could call it a common foul, but it would be a bit harsh if it was a flagrant. One was a blatant flagrant 1, and one was a flagrant 2, and she got caught for 2 common fouls and a flagrant 1. How many times Caitlin's gonna get undercut? Heck, there was like, you saw in the Atlanta Dream game at the start of the year where people were rumoring that was where she injured her other quad. She shot a 3-point shot and someone just plowed through her leg. Like, it wasn't like a landing zone foul. She literally is in the air and someone runs through her. Like, she kicks her foot forward for balance, nowhere near anybody, and someone runs through the side of her and plows through her quad. No call. No call. Like, they were saying about the undercut. It was like, there's footage like of 15 last year, people literally undercutting her on 3-point shots. Because for the logo 3, to contest her logo 3, you basically have to landing zone foul her. And then they just don't call it. They just don't call it. Like, it's mad. It's mad. But, yeah, it is an interesting one. Caitlin wasn't ever being targeted. Dude, there is literally montages. There is a montage of Caitlin Clark getting flagrantly fouled and hit to the head. Like, and by the way, there's a montage of uncalled flagrant fouls and hits to the head. Like, let's be honest. I'm shocked the referees even call a foul when Angel Reese volleyball spiked Caitlin Clark in the head. And the reason why I know it wasn't intentional was because up to that point in the season, we were like 15 games in. Angel Reese had actually not gotten a single block on the season. So if Angel Reese was trying to block the ball, if Angel Reese was trying to block Caitlin's head, she would have missed. Like, there are literally montages of them beating the shit out of Caitlin. There are montages. They beat the crap out of her this year. Like, Ryan, the one where she kind of shoved Ryan Howard and got into it. It's literally Ryan Howard shoving her. She got Captain Insane out by JC Sheldon this year. JC Sheldon is guarding her out of nowhere. Caitlin has the ball in her right hand. So Caitlin has the ball. Let's just say Caitlin has the ball here. JC Sheldon comes here. Like, here with the hand. Like, JC Sheldon is at closest this much away from the ball. Nowhere near the ball. She smacks her dead. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But, like, it was wrong then and it's wrong now. Like, the referees are a problem. But it was like, oh, you know, it was cool last year so we could show how physical the league is, but it's now gotten out of hand. Man, it was out of hand last year. It was out of hand last year. People were just refusing to admit it was out of hand because they would, like, these players, media, everyone involved in old WNBA, they would rather the product be worse and players be in danger than have to admit that the new fans are right. Or they would rather the product suffer but they're allowed to see them beat the shit out of Caitlin Clark. They would rather have a gotcha moment and a one-up over the new Caitlin Clark fans than actually watch the sport of basketball. Which you can tell by the viewership numbers because a lot of these people don't watch the sport of basketball. That's why it's disappointing hearing Lexi Brown basically saying, you know, it was fine last year when this happened. But, well, actually, there was just narratives. But this year, actually, it's something wrong. So basically, she said there was, last year was just narratives. And that was the only bad thing about it. But this year, it's not narratives. And it's something wrong. It's just the same shit. It's the same shit. Just because Caitlin Clark's not involved, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's the video. I'll see you guys.